I'm Kyle Meredith. It is 2:02, 78 degrees in downtown Louisville. Mark Charles Heidinger from Vandaveer. Welcome to the station.
Thank you, Kyle. Fancy new digs.
Yeah, I had the grand opening. You thanks for coming. Thanks for.
I made it. I didn't make it through the doors.
You just did the outside. You were outside.
I was outside.
Yeah,
it was sunny. It was nice.
We had some good entertainment. It's good to have you back, though, buddy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And I know it's a bit of a sad day. Mark and I were talking about some petty beforehand and just everybody else. But before we get into the real reason you're here, I mean, if you want to say something about Tom, because you were talking about just how important he meant to you.
Yeah, it's a horrible loss. He's top tier. Wildflowers is a desert island disc for me. I remember in college sitting in my bedroom listening to It's Only a Broken Heart on repeat for about 2 weeks straight to sort of build up the courage to ask my future wife out on our first date. So he's every man's soundtrack. There's a Tom Petty song for every major event in a lot of our lives.
Yeah.
So yesterday was a difficult day for obvious reasons. Yeah. And then the Tom Petty news was sort of the punctuation mark on a pretty awful day.
Just kick you while you're down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
We have music, so.
We do, and we'll be playing more Petty later on this hour. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're actually here to talk about something really, really awesome, celebratory even. Excuse me, because Vandaveer ended up in this crazy situation where you guys are on the new album from Ringo Starr. You are now in the Beatles family, the extended family. Like, because I don't know if you've thought of this. So the new Ringo Starr record is called Give Me Love. It just came out. Towards the end of it, there's a few tracks that's been redone. Alberta Cross has also done one of those. Vandaveer is on it. But you know that with the Beatles, as the biggest band of all time, arguably, there are all these collectors, and they have everything that the Beatles do, and you were part of that collection.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty surreal thing. I still can't quite wrap my head around it, but it happened.
It happened. So how did it happen? So here we are. You're on the record, but it starts before the record, right?
Yeah, it does. It goes back about a decade, but so last year, every summer, every July 7th, Ringo has a peace and love celebration at Capitol Records on his birthday. He has people sort of the world over at high noon local time. They have a big rousing peace and love thing that is just utterly charming and quintessentially Ringo. And they have bands play at Capitol Records each year. And we found ourselves on stage last year with just a very interesting mix of people, and we played a couple Ringo tunes, and met him briefly, and my kid got to throw out his peace and love bracelets to the audience with the other kids that were there, and it was a pretty wild, surreal sort of fairy tale moment in my life. And then that was that, and then a couple months later, we got a request to record the songs that we had played at his party in his keys. He sings them in different keys, and we did. He said, and for possible inclusion on a future project. And I thought, there's no way that's going to happen. But we were absolutely going to go into the studio immediately, and do it. And we did. We went into Shangri-La in Lexington and spent about 4 days tracking our tunes, and they asked us to pretty much stick to the script that we had come up with out in LA, and we did, and we sent the tracks off, and
and he just took you out and put him in.
I got unceremoniously dumped.
Like Rosa's still there.
Oh yeah. Well,
right.
Front and center. Now I got to play bass and guitar, and
And so there are two tracks. Did you guys get to pick the tracks when you played the birthday party?
We did. So there were 3 or 4 acts that played, and so it was just sort of submit the ones you want to play, and we'll let you know if they're taken. So like a giddy 12-year-old, I immediately fired off the tracks that we wanted to play. So
Yeah.
we get our foot in the door. And no one had taken them.
It's amazing because
Yeah.
one of those happens to be, I think, Ringo's like
His
biggest
biggest hit.
hit. We're talking about Photograph.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's play that one first here in just a few moments. Versus the original, what did you guys? What was the idea to Vandaveer it?
Well, the original is that sort of quintessential sort of wall of sound Spectre type production. George Harrison co-wrote that song with Ringo, and it has a huge, just lush, string arrangement, and it's big and it's sort of bombastic. And we thought, well, we're just going to be standing on a stage with a quick line check and a dobro and a guitar and some brushes on a snare drum, so we probably shouldn't try to go too big. So we just tried to keep it in sort of what we thought was sort of our folk wheelhouse,
Right.
And we didn't know that there was going to be a recording after the fact, but we added a little bit of bass guitar and an actual drum kit. But besides that, we followed the marching orders that Ringo handed out.
All right, let's play that one now. It's the new Ringo Starr record, Give More Love, featuring Vandaveer. Here's Photograph on FPK.
Every time I see your eyes, and I realize you're not coming back anymore.
Ringo Starr with Vandaveer. Ringo Starr with Vandaveer. That sounds nice.
Yeah, it's a nice ring to it.
That's Photograph. That's from the album Give More Love. I'm talking with Mark Charles Heidinger here about Vandaveer being on the record and just what a cool experience. Have you noticed, has any like Beatles fans reached out to you yet? Have they connected the dots?
Possibly. I'm not sure where the connections come from, but there've been some new messages and notes in the inbox and whatnot, and I have a feeling this is probably a massive Ringo / Beatles fan and not someone who stumbled upon a deep track on our second record. Probably. So
Well, wait, what we were saying earlier, Tom Petty doesn't have deep tracks and Vandaveer only has deep tracks.
yeah. Thanks, Kyle. No.
I say it because you know how big of a fan I am of you guys.
It's also true.
But that's the thing, though. These folks, I mean, hopefully, if you're listening and you're not familiar with Vandaveer and you're a big Beatles fan, I mean, this is your opportunity to find some of the greatest songs that's ever come out of music.
Wow.
Ever.
I'm waiting for it.
That's it.
Ever. On a Vandaveer record.
On a Vandaveer record.
Yeah, you keep adding qualifiers.
Yeah, right. Until it finally gets down
a singular
came down ever
that you wrote
today.
Yeah.
What's Vandaveer up to?
This year has been, by design, a little bit slower. Last year was a really hectic year. We had a record come out last early spring, late winter, and we just toured From Here to Kingdom Come. And this is year number 10, I suppose.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a nice milestone. And I think we just felt like you've got to recharge the batteries at some point. You've got to take some downtime. And I have a 7-year-old and an almost 3-year-old, and I'm feeling the passage of time acutely.
Yeah. Don't you have is it a song lyric you have about that?
Yeah, an entire album, but a few very specific lyrics about that. And
you being the guy that mows the lawn or something. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, there was a moment when I came home from a tour early when my 7-year-old was younger, and I've been gone about 6 weeks, and he gave me this look like, who are you?
That's rough.
That was brutal, man.
Yeah.
That was That was I'll have a whiskey at 2 p.m. now, please. That hurt.
You've got a beautiful family,
Thanks,
by the way.
man. And I'm biased, but I would agree.
Yeah, and the conversations that you put online between you and your kids.
Yeah, man, he puts me through the ringer.
That's some good stuff.
He cuts me down to size. He's my sharpest tongued critic.
Yeah. Man, Dad, wouldn't it be great if you were in a real band?
Yeah, that was the latest one. Latest one was watching Ben Soley this past weekend. He said, "Papa, how do they make it look so easy? I wish you were in that band, Papa." What does that mean? God, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like he's wearing an earpiece and my 43-year-old brother is feeding him lines.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
It's pretty good.
Anyway.
Well, you've got a fan in me. If you need the love of a child, you can find the childlike love from me.
Thank you, Kyle.
Any more than that, and it gets weird if I try to qualify that anymore. So I can't take it any further.
I'll keep
than
you
that.
on speed dial.
Mark Charles from Vandaveer here on 91.9 WFPK. Vandaveer is on the new Ringo record, Give More Love. We played Photograph a second ago. The other track you did is Don't Pass Me By.
Yeah, from the White Album.
From the White Album.
Yeah, that little thing.
So what's the deal with this one? I'll give you the same setup we did for Photograph here.
Well, I have always loved that track. The White Album is there's been enough people who've spoken to its genius, but I think there are some tracks that don't get noticed as much, and I think that's one of them. So that was the sort of obvious slam dunk first choice for me to play at the party and to record. It's just the piano on the original recording is filtered in such a peculiar way that it's just a head trip to listen to with headphones. So again, we didn't want to try to recreate or even attempt to sort of recreate anything that came off the White Album. So we opted for a pretty stripped down rhythm track, and we wanted to make sure Robbie got his harmonica solo in there, and he did. And then towards the end, in a little nod to the Cirque du Soleil soundtrack, which George Martin's kid mixed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Giles.
It was that mashup album. I thought, we really should, we should do a little tip of the hat to Giles and Cirque du Soleil at the end of this. And so we tacked on the tail end of the track, we tacked on a little Octopus's Garden reprise. And I thought, there's no way they're going to keep that. They're totally going to duck that out. And they didn't.
And they kept it.
They kept it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite moment. And then Ringo, he ducked out my voice, put his in, but he still sang that part. And I thought, way to go, Ringo.
It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any chance you get to do any of the shows with the All-Stars? Do you know if that's like...
I tend to stay away from absolutes, but I'm going to go with probably not. You never know.
You ended up on the record.
Yeah.
Things can happen.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be standing on the steps of Capitol Records hanging out with that crew either, but it happened. So you never know. I would love to think that there will be more encounters down the road, and we're just grateful. As we all saw yesterday with Tom Petty, time is fleeting and ephemeral, and every one of these moments that you've got to hang on to them and appreciate what's special about them in the moment, because you blink.
Yeah. Hug your artist today.
Hug everyone.
I won't make this about me. I'm going to make it about me. I used to do a segment called the Wednesday Worship Service.
I remember.
Yeah, and that was the reason, because I got tired of only celebrating artists once they passed.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to do a thing where I just get to while out them all show.
Yeah.
To show my love for them while they're here, and so that's the thing. That's the reason, It's like, hug your artist today, man.
Yeah.
So
and your loved ones.
Yeah.
And love and light to Las Vegas, of course.
All right, Mark, thanks for dropping in.
Kyle, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. Drop by, man. Can't wait to hear what's next for you guys. Congrats on this one. This is really awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Ringo Starr. The album is Give More Love, featuring the stylings of Vandaveer, right here on Don't Pass Me By. It's 91.9 WFPK.
I listen for your footsteps